Good morning, everyone. It's another beautiful Sunday. I can hear. I think Qiu Jian is mute. That's why you cannot hear him. He has to unmute himself.
欢迎来到第57期的三人制，早上好 ，Dr. Lee. Good morning.
Good morning,
Dr. Lee.
everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's another
Today-
wonderful day.
Yep, we have more new guests coming in to see us as well.
We are at the last week of June, and
Yes.
soon we are moving into July.
Correct. And we have some new guests that come in we've never seen before, like Ari.
Gary Lin, good morning.
We have Annie as well. Good morning to you. We have Joreen too. All these are new people we have not seen before.
Carol, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Yes, good morning.
Happy
Kat.
Sunday.
Yeah, and Jasmine, good morning. Kishan, good morning.
Looking forward to listening from you, Dr. Lee.
Felix,
Thank you,
Robert.
Kishan. I hope I don't disappoint you.
Yes, and we have Robert too.
Hi, Robert. Thank you for being back again.
Li Hong and Valerie. There's a Valerie as well. Wow. I guess they are all here to see Dr. Lee.
Thanks, Felix, for the greetings. Felix said, good morning, Dr. Lee, Nat, and Jian, thank you. And
Thank you,
Fong.
Felix.
Oh yes, Mr. Fong. If you like some egg tart, you can always look for Fong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he owns Tong Heng egg tart. Remember the one over at Chinatown?
Oh, wow.
历史悠久的蛋挞。
It's a heritage brand, so you get to see a diamond-shaped egg tart.
Never seen that before.
Okay, we'll send you some.
Okay.
During your birthday.
Yeah. We'll take note of that. Dr. Lee is always 27. Forever 27.
今天我们会聊到一个话题，中文呢，我简单称它4个字，就是身心合一。虽然英文呢，很多时候我们都是说 mind， 可是我觉得中文还是比较奥妙一点的，比较奇妙一点。它总是喜欢用心来代表脑，它不会说身脑合一，因为可能身心听起来比较和谐吧。其实心是不会想的。The heart doesn't make any decisions or thinking. It's just pump blood and, it's actually here. But in Chinese, we always like to say, 你心想什么呢? What is a heart thinking?
Even in psychology, in Chinese called 心理学。
是，他不是说脑理学哈。
没有，心理学。
So today's topic we'll be talking about is on the concept of the mind and the body are one. It's always interconnected. So let's talk about it. Now, what do you think, Dr. Lee?
你认同吗？就是
Well, I think, the greatest example we see in mind-body connection is amongst my patients. Animals, because they're not influenced by attitudes or judgment, they are very quick to react to the mind and which ultimately affects their body. We see this especially in cats. Cats have an incredible ability to use the mind to overcome some incredible, horrible physical problems to actually survive. Just by using the mind, you see that all the time. And we see that in wild animals. And once an animal makes up its mind to survive, they do incredible things. They will survive some horrible injuries, That's why amongst cats, because the cats is probably the least domesticated of all animals, that when they get severely ill, And I see that in things like kidney failure and over incredible odds, they will survive not just a few weeks. They can survive for years. But the more domesticated, the more domesticated an animal becomes, like us, the more they become like us, the less they are able to use the mind to control the body. Other influences come into play.
So when you say less domesticated they are, so if they're in the wild, then what happens?
They have incredible ability to use the mind because there's no blocks. All the stops are taken out. Like we have so many blocks in our mind that sometimes alter the way our mind affects our body. And we often don't believe that a mind can actually heal the body. We see that all the time amongst people who master, who understand and accept that the mind can do so much more for the body than what we think. So we see things like in yoga, we can use techniques of the mind to slow the heart rate down. We can use the mind to overcome heat and cold. There are people who can withstand incredible cold just by using the mind. They don't have to wear any clothes. I mean, we have these people that go demonstrate it in public by sitting in a bathtub of ice for hours, and they are alive. And we see that amongst people who demonstrate abilities to withstand heat, and they don't get burnt. They walk on fire, or they put their hands over a naked flame. They're not even scorched. This is where we really start to open my eyes to realize how much the mind and the body are actually one. You cannot disconnect the two like we do in the West. We tend to take the body apart from the mind. And in ancient times, in the Chinese philosophy and Chinese medicine, we connect the two. And that's very important.
I remember there was a research done by this doctor called Dr. Dorman Deutsch that talks about neuroplasticity, the brain that learns on its own. It's actually, you can Google for it, there's a video on it. And it's quite interesting to see actually how the mind and body connect, which in the sense that I have an associate over in US. We came in to do a training about 10 years back when I was in Boston. So when he was training, halfway through the program, he actually went through what you call a stroke. So from the neck downwards, he was totally unable to move except talking, that's about it. And he went through his training in a wheelchair. He got someone to help him through the whole program, and then he left. 2 years later, when I went back to Boston for the training again, I saw him, and this time he was walking around on a cane. So I asked him, actually, what happened? What did you do? I said, well, I started off with training my mind to move a small little part, my pinky finger. And then I moved to 2 fingers. And then I started moving the rest of my body to the point where I'm able to control. And then I started moving more mobility. So the mind and the body is quite amazing. Once you're able to be strong and resilient enough to shift your state, you can indirectly actually shift the outcome that you want in terms of physiology as well.
Absolutely. I really believe that.
所以它让我想起了我的养父 my stepfather. He's a very strong-willed and strong-minded person because he's a Japanese. So he got a stroke when he was, I think, 70 plus. And then he really can't talk, and then the face feature sort of changed, and then he got very sort of like the body deteriorate and then becomes very skinny. But he got very strong will, and while he was taking medicine and all that on bed, I saw him said like doing small exercise from his toe and then legs, and then when we sometimes want to move him or help him, 他其实他不要，他说让他自己来, and then at the end, he totally actually recovered from the stroke, but it took him one year, and he really
that's fast. That's good.
That's very fast.
So I can see how strong-minded he was. And then after a few months, he started to work on his hand, and it's all by himself. But sometimes we help him a bit.
My
So I really believe in
brother-in-law,
Mm,
my brother-in-law is a Malaysian.
mm.
He went with his wife on a tour in China, and the bus they were traveling in fell into a ravine over the
my.
mountainside. And everybody was killed in the bus except for him. But he was barely alive. It fractured his spine, whole spine, in multiple pieces.
Wow.
And they couldn't do anything for him. So they flew him back to Malaysia. The doctors put screws and pins and rods in his back just to hold it. All they could do is just put his back together, more or less, and told the family that he will never walk again. In fact, he's lucky to be alive. He can't control his bladder, bowel. His back is a mess, smashed.
Wow.
His wife died. Everybody died except for him. And then when he recovered, when he left the hospital, he will not accept the fact that he's going to be completely paralyzed for the rest of his life. He would rather die. So he went to China. He went to a temple run by to learn Qigong. And the master in the Qigong temple taught him how to, like what we just talked about, use his mind to overcome his physical disabilities. And when I saw him, he could actually walk, talk, and dress himself. He could urinate and defecate and control his bowels, and he goes to work. And he did all of this by himself. And his family was telling me that he would crawl up the stairs. He was so strong-willed. He refused to allow anybody to take him up the stairs. He will crawl up the staircase, up to his bedroom, or go to the toilet. He refused to let anybody carry him up. And he is so strong-willed that today he's virtually normal. The doctors could not believe it, given the x-rays, the extent of spinal injury he has.
Yep.
We see examples of this all the time.
是我那边也有一个例子，就是我一个好朋友，这个夫妇，然后他的先生是美国人，他才几年前嘛，他就去夏威夷，因为他的女儿在那边读大学，他就去那边探望他的女儿啦，然后结果他们就去冲浪，他的年纪不小了，可是他是一个很 active 的一个 American，you know，very bubbly character，very strong will as well，strong mind as well，他就冲浪的时候，一个大浪。
The wave
打过来，伤到他的颈椎，然后我为什么要提呢？就是说，当他在接受治疗的时候呢，我问他你痛不痛？因为我去他家嘛，就是看他，他说你痛不痛？他就，可是他是笑的 he did it with a smile and said.It's pain. you shouldn't try it. But he still, after a while, he started go and teach. He's not supposed to. The wife, my friend, stopped him. 他不听的，他就是要继续去 LaSalle 去教课 which was actually good for him. Actually, then he healed very fast. And then he's a musician. 所以他觉得他也是不能够就是看到自己就这样子，因为伤颈椎，然后就完全不动。然后他还是练他的吉他。He still continued to practice the guitar and all that. Although I think he was in a lot of pain, but he dealt with it and he got recovered. Yeah.
I mean, there are many cases of such as well. Because your friend, he's smiling away because at that point in time he's enjoying what he does. I remember there was cases where old folks who has gone through a lot of experience in life, they are beautiful musicians, they play beautiful piano, but during the olden, as they age, their body begin to deteriorate, they have osteoporosis, and they are going through a lot of pain. But one particular individual saw a piano in front during their recent walk, and she decided to go to play the piano. And when she sits down, as the finger touches the keyboard, everything changed. You see music flow, his mannerism, his physiology change as if she's a perfect pianist. So in life, sometimes we get to see a lot of these are cases. And in my experience, years ago, when I was with a clinical setting, we have done what you call post-surgery, pre-surgery work as well, one of which is basically through dentistry, general anesthesia without going through the anesthesia using hypnosis. So you get the person into a state of relax, and then subsequently the dentist will come in and extract the teeth, and they will walk out, and then we'll awake the subject. And they don't feel the pain at all. They feel that they will feel the pressure, the tug, but they don't feel the pain. And then the recovery is faster because the heart rate is slower, their mind is more calmer. And even in Singapore, we have this thing over in NUH, we have this thing called hypnobirthing, which is delivering in lessened pain. You get the subject into a state where they are more relaxed, they're more calm, and the baby delivered is more relaxed as well and more calm. So the mind and the body connected is actually quite amazing.
Yeah, and here Kishan says, people overcome the polygraph machine through their own mind control.
Lie detector.
Dr. Lee 这边有什么可以跟大家分享？
What do you think of that?
I mean, I can only quote medical examples. You know, I mean, I study ancient cultures and all that, and one of the things I came across was primitive people and ancient people in their cultures when they when they feel that they are of no longer use to the tribes or society or of their family, they will just lie down and they will die. So it's not just about healing. Your mind does that, but your mind can also shut your body down. So within the week, they're dead. There's nothing physically wrong with them. They just have come to a state in their lives where they feel they're a bit of a burden. So they just lie down and they pass away. And we see that in animals as well. When they feel that they're of no longer use, they're irrelevant, and they will actually go and they will die. And then one of the things we always ask clients with animals when they're very ill, spend time with them. And then if they're very, very ill and there's nothing more that we can do for them, you should give them permission for them to go. And you know, once you do that, just within a week or even less, some of them within a day or a few hours, they pass away. There's no need for me to euthanize them. And my euthanasia now is extremely low. The amount of dogs and cats I need to euthanize in my very, very busy practice is maybe I just pluck a figure out there, less than 5%. My seriously ill pets, when they get really, really ill, we do animal communication. We inform the owners to give them permission to go, and it must come from your heart. And these animals will just lie down, and very quietly they will go. There's no struggle, there's no agony. I think we lose that ability, or we lose that connection. There is actually a mind-body connection. It is not just a simple superficial connection. It's a very strong connection. You can do incredible things with your body just using your mind. There are stories, when I was young, I heard stories of a woman, the child was trapped under a car. And in her frantic moment, she lifted the car up and pulled the child out. I mean, it's like, if you ask her normally to do that, it's an impossible act. But we have known, humans have known, animals, we see that all the time. They do some incredible things. And then we don't recognize it. We say, well, you know, that's instinctive, or because they're no, we can do that as well. If we are very, very ill, if you have a strong will to live, you will survive. You're against all odds. So, you know, I don't at the moment in my practice, one of the things, myself as a practitioner, I would never make a judgment call on the life of an animal, because I don't know. I really don't know. I've made some silly calls before in the past when I was younger, and then the animal survived to make me out to be an idiot. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. So these days, as an idiot, I learn wisdom. Don't say anything you don't know. The mind is so strong. If you get the animal to really want to live, they can overcome incredible odds.
其实我们人也是一样的了。其实我们
Absolutely.
的身体，还有我们的身体构造，我们有非常强大的一个能量，还有它本来就是 如此建造的，只是我们很少就是所谓的练习，甚至是我们忽略到了我们的身体有这个很强的一个可能是自愈能力啦，还有很大的一个能量，我们慢慢的就不去用它，慢慢的当然它就越来越弱，然后你甚至到最后我们根本不知道我们有这样子的一个能量。
I had a associate of mine back in the States. He has a client he shared with us a few years back that how about 30 years ago, this particular client actually has split personality disorder. However, in one side of the personality is actually a school teacher with high blood and diabetes. So it's tested in the body. You can see the features of basically there's a need for sugar and so forth. However, the other personality is actually a fitness instructor. So when she split over to the fitness instructor, the eye pupil, the color change, the high blood diabetic results is not shown in the body at all. So when they shift the personality, it also shifts their physiology as well. It's quite interesting.
Well, also vice versa. We keep talking about the mind affecting the body. But the body is a window to the soul, it's a window into the mind. So you can actually diagnose disease and also diagnose personality just by looking at actions of the body.
Correct.
The things we do, the way we shift our eyes and body movements, and the smell that we give, the pheromones that come out of our pores, actually can tell a lot about what's going on in the mind. This is a reverse way of looking at it.
Correct. Mind and body is always interconnected, and in a certain extent, when you look at the body physiology, I think earlier I was talking to Dr. Lee about it as well. There was this TED talk by Dr. Amy Cuddy where it talks about faking till you become it, which is talks about the physiology of the body. By changing your body posture, your pose, to feel confident to be in control, just before your interview, your mental state will also indirectly shift.
是，所以就是为什么 yoga 刚才 Dr. Lee 提到的 yoga， 它确实是有这个功能的，就是瑜伽。当然，很多人现在对瑜伽呢，就是瑜伽就是很不同的姿势。我觉得 they're overwhelmed by different all those very like doing Circus du Soleil kind of, 倒立啦 handstand 啦还是什么 No, actually yoga is not about that, because recently I just started my yoga teacher, and I'm very lucky that I have a very good bunch of teachers, and we actually even how you stand, how you spread your toes, how you actually use your hand to support yourself, all these little things that you from your body actually helps your body and mind to become strong, and not forgetting about the breathing that a lot of people is neglecting. Even the breathing part actually is doing wonders to the body and the mind as well. The balancing and then all that.
And even like what Dr. Lee mentioned quite some time back about going to meditation, breathing, because when you're in that state of calmness and in control, it also indirectly helps with the mind, especially when it comes to a subject who has anxiety issue. Going through meditation, going through breathing, or like what Dr. Lee mentioned, go out for a walk with your dogs or your fur kids will also help.
Yeah. Do you know the right way of breathing, and then through intensive breathing exercise, actually it could perk your day up, just like having a cup of coffee or a wine. It depends how you use the breathing exercise.
So the right way of breathing.
Right? There's a lot of different ways of breathing exercise. For example, like there is one I can share with our viewers. Like you start from your abdominal, which is the diaphragm area, and then it's one breath. One breath. When you inhale from your diaphragm to the chest to your cervical area, that's one full one. And then from this area, cervical, the top area, you go down to your chest, and then to your diaphragm area, you suck in your stomach. That's one full inhale and exhale exercise. And if you can do that each day 4 times, just spend 5 to 10 minutes, you'll make big difference to your body.
So
yeah,
the mind must focusing on the body scanning, is it? Or how does it work?
And it's also how you breathe. How you
Mm.
breathe. A lot of 很多人他们的呼吸其实是很浅的 very shallow. It's not actually not enough. And some even forgotten it. So when you're anxious, when you're angry, that's why when you're angry, you're scolding someone, a lot of time you're out of breath. Why?
You're holding
Because
your breath.
You're holding your breath and you've forgotten
How
the
to
breathing.
breathe.
Yeah. So a lot of people actually forgotten. I mean, ask yourself, have you ever conscious of your breathing? A lot of people will say, yeah, every minute I'm breathing, every second I'm breathing, but I don't know how I breathe. So from
What
today
is-
onwards, maybe you can observe yourself how you actually breathe and do a deeper breathing. Engage with your breathing. That will make
This
a
becomes
difference.
much more conscious when you go to, if you those of you are
Yes.
going to the gym. So, you know, when you go to the gym, the instructor or the people around you will tell you, please breathe. Because very often when you're doing something strenuous, like lifting a weight or pulling yourself up on a bar, you stop breathing. You hold your breath, but that's the wrong thing to do because you're changing an aerobic exercise into an anaerobic exercise, which is very bad for you. So you have to constantly be breathing. So that breathing is very important in the gym, and that's the first thing you will notice in the gym is where people tell you about breathing, and which you don't even think about. And then women who give who have natural childbirth, the first thing we teach them is how to breathe, because that breathing in and out helps to reduce the pain.
Correct.
So it's not just breathing, but there's a specific way to breathe.
Yes.
And these are people learn it in prenatal classes.
And the breathing actually, that's 这个 Dr. Lee 提到了一个重点，很多人在健身室里面呢，他们的呼吸可能他们是没有规律的，然后是可能乱的，那这样的情况其实 it's very easy to hurt yourself and to injuries happen. 那在 yoga 里面呢，老师教我们的是很简单 ，if it's open 开放式的 ，usually is breathe in, inhale. Just remember that when it's an open kind of posture, it should be inhale. And when it's a close, it's exhale. 可是有些人可能他不知道嘛，就是开放式它是 exhale. And then when it's this movement, he inhale. And that's where a lot of times the injury will comes in, especially when you're carrying heavy things. Yeah, and they sort of 可能闪到腰啦，还是什么。平常拿东西的时候，打个比方说，如果你伸手去拿一个东西，这个其实是 open up. It actually this should be inhale. And when you take down, exhale. This is the correct way of breathing. If you go opposite, then you might.
Yeah. One of the easiest way to model is to look at a baby, because they are born natural. They have their own, you can see the breathing pattern. When they breathe in, the stomach goes up. When they breathe out, the stomach goes down. So you model after it, you automatically be able to go into a sequence.
Baby does all the right things lah, but slowly when we grow up, it always becomes a bad habit, and then we started to do the wrong things. We do the opposite things.
So it's time to let the inner child comes out. Everyone needs to have some brain.
You know, as a veterinarian, we see that in animals all the time, because they're babies all the time. They have nothing to cloud their judgments or influence them and all that. So their breathing is in accordance to the physical stresses. If a dog is in pain, he breathes very fast. So people say, why is my dog panting? I thought he's not panting. He's in pain. So pain is, because dogs are not like us, they don't scream and yell and vocalize their pain. They use breathing. They breathe very fast when they're in pain. And then when they're anxious, they pant. It's a difference between panting and breathing fast. You will notice, I mean, as a vet, I noticed that there's a difference when it's in pain. It's a different type of breathing. Or when they're anxious, it's a different type of breathing. So all that is, it's we see that in babies. We see that in all our fur kids. So they're good teachers, to teach us all these things.
Even when they're excited, I think they have a different
It's
way
a different
of
breathing.
different breathing, yeah?
The mouth structures change. They can actually smile. They smile. Dogs smile. It's incredible. The people say dogs smile. They really do smile.
是，而且他们的眼睛，我觉得跟人也是一样的。他们是开心还是伤心，从他的眼睛看得出来的。以前我养一只狗。
So the body and the mind is one. It's very obvious in animals, but for us, we have so many things clouding our judgment, so much influences, things we read, everything on the internet for us is we take it without questioning. So we lose that real inner self. We lose that baby in us. We lose the baby. The child in us is gone, which is very sad because the child in us is the very essence of ourselves. This is the child that's going to teach us. We have nothing to give. The child in us has lots to teach us because it's all innate. We are born with wisdom, but we throw it all away. We learn all this other nonsense. So, I mean, sometimes it's very good to return to that child because that's when you actually develop real wisdom. It's called the innate wisdom, the one that's inside you, that knows everything.
所以他们说要保有一颗赤子之心呢，就是所谓的一个非常童真的一颗心。这边 Robert 他就 Robert
Yes.
他提到了 Chester。Chester
is a fur kid. Has a beautiful smile whenever he see Uncle Lee.
always. He celebrated his last birthday with me. Always. Happy fur kid.
Yep. And like what we mentioned earlier about the eyes, it's actually the windows to the soul. So whatever that you see in the eye, the reflection, the image, the information can also surface as that because once again,
不只是人呢，因为好像我现在住的这个邻里呢，它有很多猫，所以变成呢我有很多机会接近猫，然后慢慢看得久了，在这边2年的时候呢，哇，你就大概看得出这个是老猫，这个应该是年轻的猫，因为年轻的猫呢，我就觉得它看你的那个眼神
不一样，
就好像小孩子，充满了好奇，然后呢，他看东西或者他去嗅东西，都是充满了好奇心的 ，curious。那老猫呢，就是一副姿态看着你。爱理不理，搭理不理，很慵懒，不管这样这个就是经验江湖老猫了，这个。you believe right 是吧
？Yes, no, really.
It show on their face.
So Walt Disney has captured all of this incredibly in his cartoons, Everything about the animal characteristics, the way they feel and all, he captures it in his cartoon. That's why I enjoy watching Walt Disney because he's so accurate in his depiction of emotions of cats and dogs. Absolutely incredible. And animals,
The famous Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry. Well, the Lion King, I enjoyed that. Because they are like that. They behave like that in the wild, It's just that he can put it into words. And I think, to me, that's beautiful. When you can see yourself reflected in creation, rather than see me and you are nothing but you're an animal. So actually, I think the phrase acting like an animal is wrong. We use the worst thing to describe behavior. When behavior is bad, we call it animal behavior, or we say you're like a dog. No, dogs don't do things that we do. They are really, really good. Animals don't do the things we do. The behavior that is really bad are human behaviors. We pollute the earth, we destroy, we kill children, we kill innocent people, and we bring destruction everywhere we go, and that's called human. No, I think that's not that's wrong. I think animal behavior is what we should go after. That is so good. They don't destroy, they only eat what they need. And if they don't just kill for sport, they kill because there's a reason for that. And in a fight, very seldom do animals get killed if they have to fight each other. They get injured, yes, but they don't go out to kill each other. But no, in humans, when we have a fight between each other, it's very often winds up in death because our intention is not just a fight. Our intention is to kill the opponent. I think we have a lot to learn.
Yep.
不过中文还是有一句话，我觉得是对的，所以他们讲就有一句话说禽兽不如。很多时候我也认同了，就是你连那个动物都不如。那我觉得那句话呢，其实是赞美动物的。
Okay. Since Dr. Lee mentioned just now about Lion King, I'm going to share a short quote from Lion King. It's going to be interesting. Just give me a minute. Let me just show the video since you're here. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to put this on full screen. Okay, here we go.
Stop.
Can you hear the voice?
Nope.
Okay. Let me just stop this again and reshare this again. Hang on a second. This particular one is actually quite inspiring.
就是那个老猴子跟那个小狮子说的话。
Okay, let's take a look at this.
That's not my father. It's just my reflection.
No. Look hard. You see, he lives in you.
Father?
You have forgotten me.
No. How could I?
You have forgotten who you are, so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are. You are my son and the one true king. Remember who you are.
No, please, don't leave me.
Remember.
Father,
Remember.
don't leave me.
What was that? The weather. Very peculiar, don't you think?
Yeah. Looks like the winds are changing.
Change is good.
Yeah, but it's not easy. I know what I have to do, but going back means I'll have to face my past. I've been running from it for so long. Ow! Jeez, what was that for?
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Yeah, but it still hurts.
Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Ah! You see? So what are you going to do?
First, I'm gonna take your stick.
No, not a stick. Hey, where are you going?
I'm going back!
Good. Go on, get out of here.
这段话听起来很简单哈，可是很值得深思哈。
Yep. And like what Dr. Lee mentioned, Walt Disney is able to bring about the information, the wisdom, even in the animation as well. It's amazing.
通过动物带出人性，值得探讨的人性的一些问题。这边呢，钟明呢，他就有一个问题了，他说如何时常保持身心合一？因为我们经常忘记了，那有什么练习的方式吗？
What in English it means?
That means how do we have our body and mind always in sync?
Connection. Yeah.
Yeah, and because we usually forgot. And is there any practice any method that we can use?
I think body and mind connection is found away from noise. You need to spend time not with others but with yourself. Spending time with yourself is like the Lion King looking into the water. You need to know who you are, and that's lost. We don't know who we are, and we don't look. The problem is most of us, when we look into the reflection, we don't like it, and that is so wrong. We don't like it. That's why the aesthetic industry is so affluent. It's so powerful. It's so affluent. Everybody wants to change the way they look because everybody wants to be somebody else. I'm not happy with my nose. I'm not happy with my eyes. Not happy with my body. But actually, you're not happy. You should look in your reflection and realize this is who I am. I'm going to embrace it. Because unless you spend time and reflect on who you are, you will never develop the mind-body connection. You will always be superficial. And that's the word to describe these people. You're just about the body. You're superficial. You're constantly looking at your body. You're not looking behind that body. You're not loving yourself enough. You're not spending time with yourself. There's no need to. You want to do this? Go somewhere where it's quiet. You don't need anybody, just yourself. Just spend time with yourself. I think that's something we don't do. Staycation, meaning myself, my children, my wife. No, sometimes you need to go somewhere quiet and have a staycation with yourself because you are the most important person. You are important. And you are handsome or you're beautiful, you know. You need to realize that. Everybody has a different way of looking. So we need to accept who we are. Then that's the first step towards wisdom, to discover the mind and the body who you must love, to connect with your mind. You can't connect with your body that you don't like.
One of the exercises I give my client is to look in the mirror and see themselves as what they are and tell themselves, I like myself, I love myself, and appreciate every aspect of it, be it the mole, the wrinkles, the beard. And when you begin to experience and express love and like of yourself, you begin to shift because your confidence level will increase, your esteem level also shift as well. So therefore the mind and body connected. And at the beginning, you may have to go through a process of learning to practice it more and more until the point where your learning becomes unconscious. So it becomes unconscious competent, where you are able to immediately, whenever there's a need for you to shift your physiology in order to achieve your state, you immediately do that. Or when you need to change your mental state in order to shift your physiology, you're also immediately able to do that. And the more that you do, the better you become.
我也认同Dr. Lee 所说的，你要先接受你自己在人心合一之前呢，我们先要接受我们自己这一个人。就好像我过去几年因为这个静坐meditation， 然后慢慢又在 yoga， 这几年的那个 yoga 跟 meditation， 好像我现在你们看到我，虽然可能在这边我年纪还是稍微比较轻一点的 ，but I have natural white hairs since army days. And actually I've been coloring my white hair for 30 years due to my nature of work. And when I was 40 years old, I asked one of my mentor and teacher in the art scene again. I said, 我可以不要再染我的头发了吗？可是那个时候我的老师说我们作为一个 artist，应该要让人家看到我们朝气蓬勃的一面。那好吧，我就接受他的话。For another 10 years, actually, I continued to dye on my hair. But after I got into this meditation and yoga, it slowly changed my perception, especially during this COVID. My 慢慢的，你看我现在 I love my silvery white hair. 那我觉得it's so nice. 那这个可能也
wise.
是，所以我也从那边慢慢的，我的这个人心合一，它慢慢我越来越觉得原来是这么一回事。当我开始接受了我自己 ，once I can accept who I really am, and from there I can actually move on, to another level, and that's where the wisdom starts to come.
Yep. I'm a little bit bald on my head, so I can imagine myself having a halo.
My shift came many decades ago. I start to stop looking at my age. To me, it's just a number. If I feel like doing something, a lot of people will stop me. My family members will say, "Dad, you're of this age. You shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be that." I totally ignore that. I just go on and do the things. If I feel young, I dress young, I speak young, I work young. Over the decades, it has really helped me to maintain a certain amount of usefulness about me, because my mind is always, I don't allow other people to tell me, to keep reminding me how old I am. I'm 72 now, but I feel inside, I'm in my late 30s or early 40s. I feel very good. And I can do a lot of work if I continue to think this way. So my mind plays a big role in what I do every day. I run a very busy practice. I see about more than 30 patients a day. That doesn't include major surgeries, So the only way I can overcome that is the first thing I do in the morning is I thank God. I go into the day loving the day. I don't care whether it's raining, howling winds outside. I love going to work. I tell myself, this is a beautiful day. Thank you, Lord. And I go to work, and with that mindset, this is going to be a wonderful day. And I love all my fur kids. I'm going to do my best to help them. I'm young, I'm capable, I'm able to do a lot of things, and I'm just going to do it. People comes along and say, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be. I ask them, please, I know what I'm capable of. Just leave me alone. So I just do what I can. And now they stop stopping me. So I do everything.
所以 training your mind， 我觉得不要把它看成其实是something very superficial or something very complicated or something very difficult. I always tell my students, start from your daily life.
Yes.
An example
you don't like, I'm going to run the 2.8 kilometer or whatnot. No. Start from your daily life. For me, how you breathe. Do you smile? Do you, put into your daily life and make it into small habits and start to do it every day? To me, that's a practice.
And like I mentioned earlier, you look at what Sharon mentioned here. I love jogging alone. To me, it's meditation and grounding by looking at the green and wildlife. Yes, it's true, because when you're in the state, you are breathing in deeply while you're going through a run, you are enjoying the scenery, you are also indirectly going through the state where you are connecting between your mind and your body.
Yeah.
Because you can't be running in a sense that you're focusing only on worrying about every other stuff.
Yeah.
Your run will be disrupted anyway.
My suggestion is find anything that you love and it's something good. It can be an exercise. It can be like one of my students, he liked to do origami, 折纸艺术. And if you're very devoted to it and you love it and you become a habit, everything that you focus to do at that moment of time and you put your heart into it, actually, it's a state of meditation. It can be a moving meditation. 所以大家可以从那边去着手。
And Sharon agree with you as well.
So every little thing that you do by yourself, without perspectives of anything, only just be there. Be there, be the moment. You reconnect your mind and your body. We have so many connections. They're all torn apart by mobile phones, by TV, by chatter, by work, by pulling from various parts of your family, by friends, by alcohol, by eating excessively. All these things disrupt all these fibers. So everything you can do alone and enjoying the moment, to capture that moment, you actually reconnect one fiber, 2 and 3. And eventually, if you keep doing a lot of these things, that your mind and your body can accept and enjoy together, because even when you're stitching, your mind needs to tell your body what to do, right? And that it's total focusing. When you're focused on that, that's you connect one more wire, and one more wire is connected. So I enjoy fishing because even if I go in a group, I always pick a spot in the boat. I don't talk very much. I'm alone in my thoughts, and I'm just very focused in my actions. I'm very focused and enjoying, and I'm into that moment. And that's all that matters. I'm into that moment. And that reconnects another connection between my mind and my body. So every little thing that you do where you're very focused, you're alone, it reconnects one more of these fibers. And over the months and the weeks and the years, more of these fibers will connect. And you will wind up with a beautiful mind-body, interactive, single connection. Repair.
To elaborate, to further add on my own experience, just be present in whatever you do. Be it you're washing your dishes. Wash your dishes and then connect with your hands, the water, that moment, that present. In your toilet, you're pooping, enjoy your pooping. Don't look at your handphone, okay? When you're, doing your laundry, connects with your clothing, your whole experience of doing that laundry. What I meant is that the present, whatever, one thing, just connects your mind with that thing. And in no time, you will find that, you can do that. And when you're having your meal, just enjoy the meal. That's food meditations. Eat your meal properly. Don't watch TV. Don't watch handphone. Don't whatever. Just connect with your food, your plate, the food in your plate.
I came across a lot of cases where patients who went through depression, their physiology was always down. They are hidden at one corner. They close the curtain. They're always by themselves. They're always in a slum state. So usually I ask them to go out into the sun, get their friends around, and once they're able to move out, their physiology begin to change. They lift their hands up. Simple posture and shifting of the physiology indirectly affects their mentality as well. And in the same way, when they begin to do it this way, it will also shift the mind and the body connection versus the body and mind connection. Both ways it works as well. So by changing the way that you are, by lifting yourself up, smiling, looking upwards, just simply laugh. There's this thing called laughter yoga, and just simply laughing in that state can also indirectly change your mental frame along the way.
I came from my background is I smile. It's very difficult for me to smile. I really trained my smile that I have now. 就是真的是练出来的。So I know how difficult it is, but it's not impossible. So now sometimes when I train my students in vocal, I really train them at not only just singing, it's how to smile. A lot of them is sing with just like that. Da 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 da. The expression 我觉得你的眼睛可以笑容吗？你的嘴巴可以扬起来吗 ？Smile。他们唱一句里面呢，我就讲好，你一唱你就提醒你自己要笑，唱到中间提醒要笑，结束了也要微笑。They have to go through that practice, you know. If not, they will from this and then slowly they will become this.
Okay. Misha have a question for Dr. Lee. What would you tell someone who is sick about the mind and body? They already have an exhausted physical pain or sickness, and mentally they're exhausted.
I think, when this happens, you really need to seek the help of a health professional. I think sometimes there comes a point where you can't do it by yourself. You need help.
Yes.
You really need help, because when you're mentally exhausted, you can't see the road. Your mind is all fogged up. You cannot see a path. You need someone to guide you on that path. You're totally handicapped when you're very, very ill, or you're totally exhausted. You need someone to guide you, and you need to find someone who you trust. And I'm not talking about seeing someone to give you medication. No, medication is a temporary fix, and it does nothing. Actually, in fact, sometimes it's worse. So what you're looking for is like a counselor, or a good mentor, or a good friend, or a good family member. Of course, that person must also be in a good mental state to help you. I mean, you don't really want to find someone else who keeps sharing with them their illness and share with them their depression. I mean, that just makes things worse. Find someone.
And you sing in the same boat. Find someone which is wiser than you, with wisdom. 这边钟明他说，活在当下的力量，察觉身体与灵性的连接就是刚才 Dr. Lee 说的，感觉自己活在存在要感觉。那因为很多人是不觉得自己在活着。什么叫做活着吧？One very good example from myself, because as an artist, when I was young, I was very unhappy, and all the ups and downs. But during a period of time when I'm 30 over years old, I tried to really push myself to walk out, to come out. And there is one day, I was in a bus, in a hot bus without aircon, and I'm sweating, and so many people, around me. But suddenly I felt 我是活着的. I felt alive at that moment. It's not comfortable. I'm sweating. Everyone is around me, crowding me, in the bus, so crowded. So sometimes we really have to walk out of our comfort zone to feel alive, rather than always just keeping to yourself.
Okay. Next week, you can kind of see me. I give you a pinch, confirm you'll be alive.
We are actually talking about existing and living. Some people just exist, and it's very sad. And some people live. So what can change a person from existing to living? Like you just said, Jujian, come out of yourself. Learn something new. Don't, like as a doctor when I was young, and when I graduated, after a while my profession became it's no longer just a career, it's work. It's just work. I eat, I sleep, wake up in the morning, start all over again, and became very, very soul destroying. It was very, very boring. I was just existing. And I found that I mean, if I was knocked down by a car tomorrow, I didn't feel anything. I could die tomorrow and don't care. I didn't care about anything anymore. Just after about 10 years of working in that, I was just existing. What changed me was one day I went and met a friend, and this friend was dying. And this friend had cancer. He was my age at that time, young friend that was dying. And he so much wanted to live. Then he shared with me all the things, the reason why he wanted to live. He's got so many things he wanted to do. He's got a bucket list that was never, ever exhausted. He never actually attempted even the first or second one. He just was too bogged down with just doing the day-to-day, the mundane. And then after a week or so, I reflected on it. Of course, he eventually died. I realized that I was doing what he was just doing. Hand in, mouth, hand in, mouth. I was just existing. Then I began to experience living after I told myself, hey, life is more than this, you know? So I want to start reading and make myself a better veterinarian. I started to explore other avenues. And when I started doing that, two things happened. One, a lot of my patients actually got better. I actually recovered from my treatment. And when they recovered, it created a joy within me. I felt that I had a purpose. Otherwise, I just felt totally irrelevant. Anybody could do what I was doing. But you can train a robot to do what I was doing. Oh, cough and cold, I give you a tablet. You got a pain, I give you an injection. You know, it just became totally mundane. And a lot of my patients was not getting better. If they got better, it was just purely by chance of the fact that the mind healed the body. But once I discovered that I could live by exploring, when I went reading and exploring other modalities of treatment, I met new people who had different ways of thinking. And my whole mind exploded outwards. And that's when I started to live.
Yeah,
when I was
and I
faced
think
with death.
during that point of time, you are also training your mind as well.
Yes.
The mind, and then it's just
Correct.
like your mind is just like your muscle, and in no time, your mind will actually benefit your whole body. 所以我觉得有时候我们人呢是要给我们某个程度上的挑战。We need to have some challenges.
We need to.
You know, yeah, to make it slightly difficult. Okay, not complicated, something difficult for us to push ourselves a little bit more, to learn a little bit more new things and about ourselves, our ability.
And like what Dr. Lee mentioned earlier about waking up in the morning, looking positive, then at the end of the day, it's like what Juchin also mentioned about the mind is like a muscle. The more that you focus on training it to a positive state, or creating ways, like for example, waking in the morning as your feet putting down the ground, today is going to be a beautiful day. As you set your frame and your mind towards it, your physiology will also change, and therefore the mind-body connection.
Yep. Good. Start doing today.
Start doing today, yeah. Start pooping and imagining the pooping, right?
Tell your mind the good things. I mean, there's a lot of really not very good things happening around us, but we are considered, like Dr. Lee, before our show on, we are very lucky. So think, use your mind to think about. To think about the good things, you can do, and be grateful, be thankful.
Yes.
All this is very 对我们的 mind 我们的心呢是很有帮助的。It's sort of like nourish our mind. We need to do that, and as a practice, always remind ourselves. That's why you see, suddenly it came to my mind, how the mind and the body, you always got to redo it, repeat it. Remind yourself.
Misha asked, how about we think each day that we are alive and we don't want to waste a day?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Good. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, the greatest time stealer is actually the mobile phone. You ever thought that could be quantum physics here? When you take a mobile phone and you have to answer a question someone posed to you, maybe you're looking at WeChat or WhatsApp, you type in, take note of the time and the time you finish that sentence. Sometimes 2 or 3 minutes or even 10 minutes can pass just like that, and you don't realize it. And I've got, hey, somewhere in there, it's a strange thing is happening. My time is stolen very quickly, and I thought this would take only a minute. I answer a question, then I look at my time. It's almost macabre. It's unreal. It's a surreal feeling. So one of the things you need to do is stop making the mobile phone important, because it is not important. Put down the phone. Don't take it to dinner with you. Please don't sit down with a mobile phone. First of all, I think it's damn rude. I don't say anything, but I think it's very rude. Or when clients come to see me and they have a mobile phone, they're talking and they're answering a phone and they're in a consultation with me. I just feel so angry sometimes. I ask them, can you please, you want to do this? You wait for your next turn. When you're done, then you come back in. I have no time for this, you know. And I see people, whole family going out. They sit down and nobody talks. Every child, every parent is on the damn mobile phone. I mean, there's something wrong with this, you know. They're walking the street on the mobile phone. I nearly hit a few people accidentally because they just walk without looking, you know. It's like, you know how dangerous this is? And why would you need to be connected to the mobile? I'm not that connected. Does that mean I'm stupid? Does that mean I don't have a life? Does that mean my life is a mess? No, my life is not a mess because I'm not connected. I think one of the exercises people should be able to do, switch off your mobile phone for just 2 days and see what happens. 2 days. The world is not going to collapse. Your family is not going to break up. In fact, you will find joy. You will start to live. The mobile phone is a curse. It is a curse. It's a voodoo curse.
To make it a bit funny, the misuse of your handphone will not make you smart, make you stupid, huh?
Yes.
Okay, before we end the show, Robert says, Robert have something to say.
Okay, what Dr. Lee says is very true. Luckily for Chester, decided to live his life with a new jest to help for kids. All the immune therapy helped Chester so much. We are so grateful and thankful for the immunotherapy for Chester. Yep.
Immunotherapy is something I had to learn about 10 years ago. I had to learn about stem cells and NK cells because I'm not laboratory trained. I'm a vet. So I had to go to labs overseas and spend time and all that to learn new therapies from the human side in order to help my fur kids. And that really gave me a whole new focus and a whole new look into how medicine works. And this is medicine of the future. It's called regenerative medicine. That's what Robert is talking about. And I think this is just an example of if there are veterinarians or doctors out there, look into other things. Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck in this because this is not what you are. You're smart. You're brilliant. Go out and exercise your mind. Be brilliant. Be the best that God has made you. Be the best. You are the best. Be the best. Don't just be satisfied with what you have. No, be unsatisfied because there are a lot of things that you can learn out there that will not only help your patients, but it help yourself, you know.
Yeah.
That's
so I can wrap up Dr. Lee's word， 就是要用半杯水的哲学 ，always live a half-filled cup philosophy, and then you will always be excited to fill up your another half cup to learn new things and be smart and be brilliant.
Great. So we are back to the mind and body are connected. Today is an amazing day. So go out there, enjoy yourself, feel rejuvenated, revived, and your mental state will also change.
I felt connected already.
Please go and poop more.
I already done it. Between 7 to 8. That's the right best time.
Best time.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lee, for being with us.
Thank you.
And
My pleasure again.
Yeah, we'll see you soon in last week of July.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Dr. Lee, for coming. And thank you, everyone, for watching our show. We will see you on next last Sunday of July.
好，从下个星期从下个月开始呢，我们是在每一个月的最后一个星期天早上10点30分和大家见面。我是九健
I'm Nathaniel.
I'm Dr.
Bye.
Lee.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.